Hey guys, it's Ben with Upstart HR, and I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking on innovation lately. I just actually worked with some of our engineers and other people in our company to do a short little innovation workshop. It was a lot of fun, very interesting, and I will be completely honest and admit that some of the stuff went completely over my head. Bad on me. I ought to understand a little more about what our engineers do, but once it gets beyond a certain level, it's a complete other language out there, and I just don't understand all of it. But in short, it was a great experience. I learned a lot about how we do things on the engineering side of the house, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Very neat that HR and some of our other functions were included in that, because they realize, the more diverse the inputs, the more cohesive the outputs, the more valuable that, the more varying opinions and ideas and things that kind of get fed into this, the more buy-in everyone has on the other end. So over the course of a day, we spent time going through all these different exercises and generating ideas for things, and kind of the criteria for what would constitute an idea. What would constitute an idea was meaningfully unique. It has to be, unique. We can glue purple feathers onto cars and make them look like, I don't know, that was a terrible example, but that's unique, but it's not meaningful. And it needs to be a little bit different than what we're doing now. Maybe we're targeting a new market, or maybe we're offering new solutions to current customers, something like that. And it was the whole day of just pounding those ideas and working through, okay, what can we tie together? Maybe we'll take a piece of this one, take a piece of this one, and put those together, see what happens, and that becomes a new idea that we're gonna put into the pot, look at later. And throughout the day, we're coming up with these different things. We had something like 200 by the end of the day, and then each person in the room has to go over to the table with all the ideas lined up and pick one to sell to the group and see if we can make that happen. So everybody went around through that. Then we all voted on a couple, and at the end of the day, we walked out with 2 ideas that we agreed that we should look into and pursue if they're feasible, from a customer perspective and everything else. So it was just a fun and very interesting way to look at innovation, very fast. This was not like a 3-week period to come up with these ideas. It was very quick to get them out there, and then they have a very structured follow-up process for, okay, 1 week later, what's your update? How much have you done? Here's the research you should have done. Find the death threats for this idea. Maybe you find out that your competitor already has something like that on the market for half as much as you could do it for. That's kind of a death threat. So look for things that would kill this right off the bat. Maybe it's going to be twice as expensive as we thought it was, and there's no way we can do that. So there's a very great structured process for going through, and then next time we're like, we're kind of low on that inspiration, the innovation, the ideas. All we got to do is kick it back up again and start throwing the ideas out and start the process up again. So we focus a lot on innovation. It's one of our core values, inspire innovative solutions, and that's really how we've built our company. We provide these training tools and things that no other company really does, and we've served our customers very well in those areas. But like every other company, you want to grow and find new markets, find new customers, things like that, and that's what kind of drove this in the first place. So I love it, and I love thinking about HR innovation in the same way. We're not engineers. It might be a little harder to come up with some very unique and creative way to do things, but I've heard it said that if you can be 10% better than your competition, then you're going to win out. Just 10%, it's not that big of a deal. Well, how can you make your HR team 10% better than your competitor's HR team? I don't know, but that might be worth looking into and discussing at some point. So anyway, engineering innovation, fun experience. Highly recommended if you have a lot of engineers, if you're looking for some sort of innovation within your own company. Definitely a really great program to check out. Thanks guys, and hope you have a great week.